I'm a believer that this team's going to win the national championship.
Something stupid is coming out of his mouth.
I don't know. Maybe it's just my age. He needs his vote pulled immediately. And of course, yes, a season like this has to have a name.
Let's talk about something good about Justin Frye. What are you doing?
Season of dreams. Ohio State, my guys, are either the best or the second best program in the history of college football.
This guy is a bonehead. They love him.
I question your judgment as an adult. I really do.
I was a total hater. I know that for a fact, and I just don't get it.
Get us back our sleeves.
And say, bring me that. That's the one I want. Hey, good morning. Welcome into Juck on Bucks. On a Juck on Bucks Monday, Chris will be joining me. He forgot to charge his car last night, the car that he plugs in every night in Akron, and then it drives him down to work in Columbus every morning. Number one, that is some serious dedication to your job, but I don't know how much credit I give him when the car actually drives him the whole way. You guys tell me what you think. To me, the drive is the biggest part, but he gets to read a book, drink his chai tea. You know what I mean? I don't know. But obviously a vastly different Monday than we were expecting. We've all had a couple sleeps on things. Generally, you would think cooler heads would prevail this Monday. We'll see when Chris and I get together if cooler heads are prevailing. But I appreciate you guys so much for joining me. Got a couple of comments we'll just go ahead and get to while we wait for our guy. Start off with our buddy Don B. Question for Juck and Chris. If Day gets fired, let's start off right there. Day getting fired. So, as we all know, maybe you don't know, Ross Bjork came out and made a statement last night. And in Ross Bjork's statement, he goes on to support the coach. He's our coach. Our focus right now is on the college football playoff and making a strong run. If you're the AD, obviously, that's where your focus is going to be. We have a ton to play for. We have a team made up of talented players and great young men. Coach Day does a great job leading our program. He's our coach. There's going to be plenty of time to dissect what happened in the rivalry game the last couple of years. But right now, we have to keep the main thing, and that's focus on the values of the program. Focus on why we lead young men. Focus on the mission of the playoff. Now, obviously, Ross Bjork is going to come out and say that. You know what? Never mind. Yesterday on the show with Dylan, I said to Dylan, do you think Ross Bjork is going to come out and make a statement? Dylan didn't think so. My thought was he either would make a statement like this or he would not talk. And if he didn't say anything, that was going to be a very big tell to all of us as to what way he was leaning. But as we know, Ross Bjork isn't the guy who ultimately makes this decision. He kind of works at the behest of the big money men. And the big money men, so I've, kind of tried to get the vibe on where that's going. And immediately following the game, it was very much like us. And I say us because I've never seen the fan base, at least the folks I interact with, kind of be all on the same page. It was maybe 90-10 after that game. Like, this has to end. This has got to move forward in a different direction. And that was kind of the same feeling. But obviously, guys, the financial obligations are massive. He's got a $37 million buyout, which this is Ohio State. You can do that if you really want to do that. But when you weigh in the success that he has had, a $37 million buyout, plus taking on a huge contract for a new coach, plus the first year of revenue sharing, a massive financial stake being put forth just to move on, when you might want to say maybe we should give this guy one more year. There is an amazing recruiting class about to be signed, etc. I know that a lot of people don't want to hear that. I personally don't want to hear that. At the same time, I'm a very moderate booster compared to those guys. So it is what it is. But to Don B's question, how bad would it affect the classes that are being recruited, and would players jump in the transfer portal? Yeah, you would lose some players in the transfer portal. That we have a very easy example of how this would look, right? We just saw it happen at Alabama. We saw Nick Saban retire. We were the benefactors of Caleb Downs, Julian Sayin, Seth McLaughlin. And it wasn't just us. Florida State got a bunch of players. Plenty of teams profited off of Saban retiring because guys came out. But what do you get? You get the new guy that comes in. He brings some of his players with him. So you add some talent there, and you add some talent of your own in the transfer portal. And what ended up happening was Kalen DeBoer walked into this season with the #1 talent composite. So he was able to mitigate it so much so that they still walked in with the #1 talent composite. So that really, Ohio State, when you talk about Ohio State, Alabama, very similar in those areas. I think that it's just all about the right hire. If you get the right hire, you can mitigate the damage from that. And then if you do well year one, you're right back on your feet year two. And when we talk about how Kalen DeBoer has done this year, no, it's not been great. You've had a couple losses that you normally wouldn't have. But all in all, doing really well, sitting with a top 3 recruiting class. So moving forward, it looks good. Is he the absolute perfect hire? We don't know that yet. But as far as the talent, keeping the talent and acquiring new talent, fantastic job. And we can look at that and say, all right, Ohio State can probably do a similar deal there, providing that they hire the right guy. The other question is, okay, who's the right guy? And that is just one of those things that, to me, I don't think you go about by looking at the top 5 coaches in the sport and saying, well, could we get him? Could we get him? Would he leave? This is more of a comprehensive thing where you are doing it like they did at Texas A&M. And originally, funny as it is, so they went and Ross Bjork did the whole coaching search deal, brought back Mark Stoops to the donor base. And Mark Stoops at Kentucky, who has been a guy at Kentucky who's set records, been the best coach they've ever had. And they brought him back, and the donors did not want to hear that. They didn't want to hear that one bit. So he goes and he brings Mike Elko to them. Mike Elko formerly worked for Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, was coaching at Duke. They sat across from Mike Elko, fell in love with him. And that's what happens. You sit across from someone, you listen to him talk, and you fall in love with him. That's the guy. This is the guy for us. And that's what would happen at Ohio State. My guy.
Dude.
Good morning, buddy.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you?
I feel like I haven't slept in like 3 days, Juck.
You forgot to plug your car in. I told everybody the car that drives you down to work every day was not
didn't plug it in. Had to stop at Circle K on the way here. So, my bad.
Hey, all good, buddy. A much different show on a Monday morning that I anticipated we would be having. I thought, KD, we'd be walking in here talking about the conference championship and talking about Oregon and kind of recapping this game pretty briefly, because it would have been very boring, but very boring in the fact that Ohio State whooped Michigan. That didn't happen. Buckeyes lost the game, and I have not experienced a couple of days so weird as a Buckeye fan in 20-some years, and probably since I was 16 years old, bro.
I mean, this for me was like the ultimate humbling experience, right? Like me and you were having discussions, me and Ron were having discussions about like, should we storm the field if we win?
Right.
Like, this was going to be a blowout. This was supposed to be an embarrassment. The world was supposed to be right. And for me, like I remember I was in a live stream talking about, yeah, man, like winning by 2 touchdowns might not be enough. I want more. And then fourth quarter comes around. I'm like, oh my God, like I just want one scoring possession. So tough, man.
Yeah.
It's real tough.
Yeah, a lot of things to go over, bud. The fight at the end getting a lot of national attention. Mm-hmm. I've never seen pepper spray deployed at a football brawl. That was maybe a little bit over the top, in my opinion. What was your take on that?
That felt over the top to me. I mean, we saw a bunch of fights all across college football Saturday, probably the most fights I've seen on a rivalry day, and that was the only one that used pepper spray. And it looked like, for me, the video I saw, that the moment they used pepper spray, things were kind of de-escalating at that point. And I looked at some of the kids who got pepper sprayed, like Sonny Styles getting pepper sprayed, felt crazy.
Yeah. They nailed Sonny right in the grill.
Right in the face. Had to help him off the field, man.
Yeah, that made me mad. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
the Big Ten has come out and fined both Ohio State and Michigan $100,000. What I did find funny, KD, is they were trying to say afterwards that was not disrespectful. They give the mic to Khalil Mullings, who said you got to learn how to lose. Man, that's disrespectful as hell. And then we go on and see fights all throughout college football for the same thing throughout the day because it's disrespectful as hell. Everybody knows it is. Big fight, Florida State. By the way, Billy Napier apologized for his Gators doing that. We didn't get that from Sharon Moore.
Right. No, everybody knows planting the flag is uber disrespectful. In fact, there was a talk about it 2 years ago when Michigan did it. And then they ended up putting that flag in their museum about like a former Ohio State player was like, that can never happen. You absolutely cannot let them plant a flag ever. Like that's always been reason to fight. Always. So, Khalil made the comment about learn how to win, learn how to lose, learn how to win. Win with grace. Like Ohio State every year was beating that ass in Ann Arbor, and never, ever planted a flag.
Yeah. I was talking to Dylan yesterday, and he said at the game he could see after that hit that Will took when he came back in that he was a little wobbly. And then he sent me this video last night, guys. I'm going to play the video. If you're watching this on the recording later on, it's not going to be there. I'm going to have to edit it out because of YouTube rules. But I want to play it now for our live audience because he said this is the play he was talking about. And Will was wobbly. You can kind of see it in this video. But if you could see his legs, which you can't in this video, we can't see his legs. But he said, watch his helmet, how it dips. And it dips because his legs gave out. Everybody take a look at this here.
Near the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 8. Howard hit as he throws incomplete. That type of set is playing into Michigan's hands. And you see, again, pressure on Howard. They can play that tight pressure on Howard. They can play, again, pressure on Howard. They can play.
Yeah, he's
so
not
right there, he is
he's not
Dylan
right.
told me it was his legs giving out, and that's why his head kind of dips a little bit where you can see like that.
Yeah.
After that hit, man, I thought he was done. I thought that it was set up for DB to come in and hopefully make some magic. And I felt pretty comfortable with it, to be honest. DB in that position against that team. Obviously it was still close at the time, but I thought that that would be okay. But I didn't expect him to come back in. We've heard that he is maybe talked his way to getting his helmet back from the doctors. What's your take on all that, dude?
So I've spent the last 24 hours investigating this, trying to pull every source that I know, calling every favor to try to figure out kind of how things happened. And again, I'm not quite there to like say this is absolutely what happened, but it sounds like he told players on the sideline that his head was killing him. It sounds like Ryan got on and said, give Will his helmet back. That maybe for a moment there his helmet got confiscated from medical. And that is a big maybe. What I've heard from two people just real briefly, that he said his head was killing him because they were going to take the helmet away and try to wait. But Ryan was not having him wait, is what I was told. So, again, take that for what it's worth. But I'm trying to get to the bottom of it because he didn't look right. He didn't look right at all afterwards.
No, not at all. Didn't play like himself. And I've talked to a couple of people who have a different feeling of Will Howard as a quarterback based on how this game went. And I don't think he was right. I don't think he was himself.
And that would explain the play calling, right?
Yes. The play calling, and we're talking third and 8s, and we're running the ball. If you knew that something was off with Will and you absolutely didn't trust your backup, which clearly they didn't, right? I mean, things were not going well.
No, Ryan Day clearly hates Devin Brown.
There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about
his
it.
Guts, because he would risk putting in a concussed kid in the biggest game of the year, or allegedly concussed kid in the biggest game of the year, instead of letting Devin Brown or Julian Sam, for that matter, throw a single pass. Dog, he hates those boys. Like, he risked getting fired with cause, risked getting fired without cause for losing this game just to avoid Devin and Julian playing. Like, that should tell you everything you should know about how he feels about those two kids.
David Smith said Juck really thinks Day will win at Michigan next year. I don't know where you heard that.
Who said that?
I don't know. Did I say that? I do want to point out if, because I think everybody forgets this, it's been 4 in a row, right? But you haven't won since 2019. And I was just thinking last night, when you roll in there next year, by the way, that was probably the worst Michigan team we're going to play in a long time. Those boys are hitting the portal hard this year. But when we roll in there next year, it will have been 6 years since we've seen a victory in that game. 6 years.
Yeah.
Which, boy, if you'd have told me that 10 years ago, that there would be a time where we hadn't seen a victory in 6 years in that one, it looked like their program was on life support at times throughout the last couple of decades. I just never would have believed you, man. 6 years. That's what this guy's put us through, man. 2 first rounders.
I haven't seen Ohio State beat Michigan since me and my ex-girlfriend broke up, and that was 3 girlfriends ago.
2 first rounders, bro, in the middle of their defense. And there is we've seen now the national fellas, the national chodes have picked up on this and are saying that Ryan Day wanted to win this in a tough way. He wanted to show that he was tough, his team was tough, and this was the year that he was going to be able to take advantage of that because their team was down so bad. And he decided to play it that way, didn't really pivot off of it. We've got a lot of it's Chip's fault, lack of JJ, even after they basically admitted they couldn't stop him by what looked like intentional PIs. If in fact Ryan Day came into that game thinking, I'm going to win this game physically, I'm going to run it down their throats, I'm going to beat them at the line of scrimmage and show that I'm tough, how big of an indictment is that on him as a coach?
Huge indictment, malpractice. If you look at the 2 teams that are of Ohio State caliber, quote unquote, to beat Michigan this year, they both threw it more than they ran it. So, like, if you want to be big, tough guy, whatever, go do that at Arkansas. Go do that at Florida. Like, I don't want to hear. Yeah, I get it. Running the ball is really important, but also don't put your ego and your broken trauma response shouldn't be to run the ball and lose his team the game. That's what he did. He lost this game for one of 2 things happened. Either Will Howard was concussed and he hated Devin Brown so much that he couldn't play him, or Julian Sand for that matter, or his pride got in the way and wanted to run the ball because members of the national media called him soft and Michigan fans called him soft because they weren't really a rushing team. He was too pass happy. And both of which are putting yourself ahead of the outcome of the team. And that's a major issue. And like I always say, like, don't put a single person above the block O to everybody. I've always said that. Ryan Day is the biggest culprit. If this is true and Ryan Day wanted to win that game running the ball like that, then he has put himself above the block O again. And that's the biggest issue.
I really want more answers out of him.
I
really do. He is going to talk. Dylan told me on Wednesday he's scheduled to talk, but that's the every year. That's for the signing day, right? When he comes out and talks, and he's going to obviously want to talk about the class. I don't think this can just be brushed under the rug.
No, and
Juck, need more answers.
Under the rug, it's just another confirmation. He doesn't get it. This is what he's going to do. He's going to get up there and pout and mope and try to angle questions to about the class, lie a bunch, and then get out of there because no one in the beat is allowed to ask any hard questions or else their livelihoods are at stake. Because again, Ryan Day is going to go up there and put himself ahead of the block O. That's my biggest issue.
In one day, we went from talking about the Big Ten championship to sitting 4th in the Big Ten. You got this class here, and it is one of the best classes I can remember. I'm not talking about the class of 2025. I'm talking about the class of 2021.
2021,
the class that we've talked about forever, and they are now 0 for 11. They got one more left, one more goal that they could potentially reach, and that is the hardest goal of all. That said, we know that it's a team that, when it's clicking on all cylinders, can beat anybody. And I just don't feel like I even care right now, bro. I can't even think about that right now.
Chuck, I think we can win the Natty because I think that we can beat every team not named Michigan. I think no matter what, those colors keep dude up at night. That's what happened, right? Like,
yes,
like Indiana's a better team than Michigan, but it's just they're viewed as Indiana. They're not the big bad scary wolf. Like Penn State's better than Michigan. They're just not the big bad scary wolf. I mean, shoot, if we played the way we played against Oregon, who is far better than Michigan, you win by 20 plus. And today I have a good week.
Yeah.
Ryan Day has found a way to ruin my Saturday and ruin my whole week.
He sounded so shocked in that press conference afterwards. He even said we didn't expect this to happen. And it's just like, we talked about it on Friday. All the markers for a huge upset were there.
We're there, yeah.
I've seen this happen before, never to this extent, but all the markers were there. He came in having lost 3 in a row with a class of dudes who has never beaten them. And somehow it sounds like he overlooked them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that's possible, but he felt like he was going to go get his get back and do it on his terms, beat him physically, beat him up, embarrass him. And now next year, you're heading back up into there, facing a better team, looking at, are you going to lose 5 in a row? Because let's be honest, man, it looks at this point like nothing's changing, right?
No, dude. Head man at the front. He can't take accountability. He's got an ego problem, and we let Sharon Moore shoot an arrow across at the Woody.
He shot an arrow.
Shot an arrow.
I should have loaded that video up, bro. If anybody hasn't seen it, Sharon Moore, after they kicked the field goal at the end of the game, shot an arrow.
Because he knew.
At Ryan Day. Getting dude, I've called this guy a G5 head coach all year.
So
and I honestly, like, he is. You got beat by that dude.
Yeah. Ryan Day, man. Like, now, I can't even argue with Michigan fans if they say that they broke Ryan Day. Y'all did. Y'all did. Ryan Day is the uncooked noodles, and y'all just snapped it in half.
Yeah, yeah. Hell-bent on playing tough.
Yeah.
Garbage special teams again. Every year in this game, garbage special teams. You miss 2 field goals inside 40, but, you know, you don't get a pass like your really good field goal, missed 2 field goals. That's your failure to not put a kicker on the squad that can handle that. We've talked about it all year. Our boy Ron goes ballistic about it. I feel like every week I talk to him on the post-game show. How can we not field a kicker at Ohio State that can make field goals inside of 40? It's insane. Now we got a coach who is look, do you feel any differently about this class of 2021?
I mean, I have to, right?
I'm ready for them to move on. I'll tell you that.
Me too. Like, I like Denzel. Like, I like Jack Sawyer. It sucks because, like, I think I'll die feeling like if they had a coach that instilled confidence and let them play free, they could have won multiple national championships. But I simply have to, because of the head man. I have to feel differently about them because, like, they are kind of the people that have been around for a majority now of the Ryan Day era, and I don't feel good about the Ryan Day era. So yeah, unfortunately, I feel differently about them, and I hope they go ball in the NFL. I hope so, but I mean, you come here and you have to beat Michigan. You have to, and they didn't. So I feel like Ryan let them down. Like, the fact that, here's the thing, their legacy is tarnished, and they don't get to look at the fans and be upset with them. Be upset with Ryan Day because he's the one that did it.
For sure. I came on the post-game show, and
great post-game, by the way. You did an elite job. I didn't listen to it at first. Ron texted me and actually called me, told me how exceptional of a job you did. And I couldn't agree more, dog. Like, you were definitely less emotional than me after the game.
I tried, dude. I waited a half an hour, and I was like, all right. You know why, bro? I didn't want them to like be able to pull all this stuff up of us all melting down, right?
Yeah.
So
they got me melting down. So
and I tried to be measured and give it 24 hours before I just, I want a regime change. That's what I want. I can't trust this guy at all. I can't trust any of his hires. I can't trust anybody on his staff other than the people that I know are Buckeyes on that stuff. Like, I just don't trust him anymore leading this crew. I'm going to cover this team. I'm going to root for this team.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's no other thing we can do as fans, but I don't trust anything about him. And I hear people talking about, hey, we're still in the fight for the national championship. And I'm just like, dude, one, that's probably not going to happen. And two, you're going to go into next season feeling what about this guy? Like now the team, the talent probably drops off, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe we're better off with the class of 2021 out. But
here's also, Jake, like he's so tight. None of our young kids even get experience. We don't even know.
No, dude. You look at a guy like Caden McDonald, guy looks like a future superstar. Took him forever to get him any snaps. Edric Houston, dude looks amazing. By the way, no rotation at all in the biggest game of the year. None at all. It was just, same old thing. Starters all the way to the end. But
you want to know how many? You know how many snaps Caden Curry played?
How many?
3.
That's disgusting. That's the one guy that everybody's like, that's a warrior. That dude brings juice. We want to see that guy out there. Not like he's some young dude. Guy's in his 3rd year.
He's about to be a senior next year.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It feels to me, Chris, from the comments, the Twitter vibes, the emails, that the majority of the fan base who is into this, like we are, is just, even the defenders of him, they're done. They don't want this anymore. A lot of minds were changed on Saturday. Even the folks that were defending him previously are no longer defending him by the way they always have, which is, the regular season record, the not losing to bad teams, the way they used to defend him. Now they're defending him out of fear of moving on. Mm-hmm. You're going to lose the players. You're going to lose the recruiting class. Who you're going to get. Like now it's about fear. And when you cross over into that, that's when it's an invalid argument at all.
Correct.
We talk about the who you're going to get. Yeah, well, we don't know, right? We're not the AD. We don't do those interviews and those searches. But they don't do it by looking at the 5 best coaches in the sport like fans do and say, well, would he leave? Would he leave? You may take one swing like that, but you're out doing search interviews. You're talking to men, talking to each other one-on-one. Like these things matter. You learn someone's personality. You learn about them. You sit across from a guy like a Fran Brown and you're like, holy shit, this is different. The dude, right? Like that's how you hire people. And as far as the players, dude, I've cited it probably 20 times in the last month, but we saw Kalen DeBoer take over and walk into this season with the number 1 talent composite and a top 3 class. Like there is no clearer example of the best case scenario for Ohio State. And that was one of our questions earlier on before you hopped in, like about
you're Ohio State. You're always going to be attractive. Obviously, like you're a huge brand, so collective and money should be there on the NIL front and for the revenue sharing front. You're always going to be a hot place for coordinators because you are a springboard bolt job. Like if anybody's worried about Ohio State and like their ability to like find another coach, like you just haven't been paying attention to the history of Ohio State.
For sure.
Like you can win it. And also there's so much talent, untapped talent, that even if you're not a great recruiter, like you'll step in to a top 5 state in all of America in terms of like producing talent, and you'll be able to close off the border really quickly while you get your feet wet elsewhere. So like if you don't have faith that they'll be able to go find another coach, then you're definitely overvaluing and overqualifying Ryan Day. So,
bro, we're talking about a guy like if your standard is a journeyman with 9 stops in 20 years who spent 2 years as a college offensive coordinator, like if that's your standard, then your pool is huge. You got an enormous pool because that's who Ryan Day was. There is nothing inherently special about this guy. There was nothing inherently special when he got the job. Nothing.
No, pool's never been bigger, man.
He's done a very good job.
And also, like, here we go, Chuck. Wait, one quick thing. We hired him as the head coach because we like his play calling. He's no longer calling plays. So now it's like, just hire the best CEO.
Exactly. The best leader. He's not that. He's not a great leader. That's not his skill. He was a great
I would argue that he's
guy, bro.
He's the worst leader Ohio State has seen as the head coach in at least 20 years.
Absolutely. Since Cooper, this guy's got none of the qualities Urban Meyer has as a leader. None of them Tressel has as a leader. I mean, that's not even close.
No, I mean, I'd argue that Fickle's probably a better leadership qualities.
Oh, absolutely. That's not even close. Not even close. He's timid. We've talked forever about our joke about him not being able to fire people. That he lets these contracts expire. He's timid of confrontation. Talking about the Larry Johnson, Jim Knowles shit that we had to just go through for 3 years before he finally could step in and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and let this defensive coordinator do what he wants to do. Like, no, I'm just hating on him, bro.
Do you know he did to Coach Fitch? Have we talked about that?
No.
So Coach Fitch had a job lined up, and Ryan said, no, don't worry about it. You're good. Your contract's not going to get messed up here. And at the time, it was important for Todd to make sure he had some security because Coach and Ryan had known each other for a long time because his wife had just gotten sick. And then they made some changes, and Todd no longer had a spot. Coach Fitch no longer had a spot. And instead of going to him himself, because they've known each other for 20 years, he sent somebody else in to let him know they were going to slash his contract. And so that's why he left and went to LSU. Instead of doing it himself. He had somebody else go do it.
I heard that he was pissed, when he left. And
think about it. Like Ryan Day told you you're good. You pass up on other jobs. You have some stuff going on the home front. And then I've known you for 20 years. You send somebody else to come let me know that you're welcome to stay here, but we're going to cut your pay in half.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But none of this is new, right? We've always known that he's not some great leader. This is not he was a great scheme guy, bro.
Right, football mind. So we excuse the not a great leader thing.
Right. But that's passed him by.
10 points in the game.
He's not a great scheme guy anymore.
No, he's not.
That's passed him by years ago. It's passed him by. It really has. Talking about this this class and losing recruits, should you move on and all this, I am so that is not a conversation that means anything to me. Not at all. Yes, I love a lot of guys in this class. I've just spent the last 6 months of my life getting to know these dudes and everybody in this class, watching film, cutting it up, showing it to you guys. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. I don't know what happens from here, man. It doesn't feel like any changes are going to happen, and we're going to be stuck. But like I said, man, it's a tough week. I'm going to be rooting for the Buckeyes no matter what happens, and by proxy, rooting for his success. But my faith is gone in this guy, in his regime. I heard that the boosters are going to, at bare minimum, force staffing changes on him, which is just I don't think anybody on the staff is the problem. I think it's the head guy.
They were all good, free, confident coaches before getting here to Ohio State. All of them.
Yeah. Let's bring in some of our pals. We got Schaefer Healthcare. Thank you so much for the $20, buddy. I really appreciate that. The fear of going backwards is preventing us from moving forward. Light-skinned James Franklin is good enough to keep you relevant, but will never win it all. His insecurity and being called soft screwed us out of the game. Kind of what Chris and I were hitting on. I think you're exactly right, bro.
He's the Michael Jordan of James Franklin's.
The very, very best kind of James Franklin you can get. On that note, while we've been dragging everybody down, let's bring this in. Here's the situation. At the end of the game, James Franklin runs up to score a little bit on Maryland. James Franklin and Mike Loxley have a little bit of a, not a very friendly handshake at the end of the game. James Franklin was asked about that in his press conference. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I get it. It didn't look like it was the smoothest post-game handshake. Is that the statistics and their ones still in there, or can you explain that last touchdown? Yeah, I get it. right? At the end of the game, we throw a touchdown. I get it, but a couple things I will say. My job is to put the 3s and 4s in the game. But when the 3s and 4s get to go in the game, they get to play football. Those guys deserve to play football. Your 1s are in the game. You were trying to score. We're trying to score. On top of that, you're playing cover 0. If you don't want, play cover 2. So I'm good with it. And on top of that, there's also a change in college football. We are trying to play as long as we can, make the playoffs, and be seeded as high as possible. And scoring as many points and a point differential matters. All that matters.
He is so spot on, dude. He's so spot on. Like, what are you supposed to do? I got to play my guys. And now we are talking about, and this goes back to the argument with Ryan Day running up the score. Like, people who are idiots who don't watch games look at these box scores and they go by the point differential, right? Like, that's just what it is. I mean, it's kind of always been that way. You got to do it for Maryland's not in a playoff hunt, so I think he's spot on right there.
And the fact that he plays his 3s and 4s early and lets them go play football. This made me want to go put on a Penn State hat, Chuck.
Look at my dude here. Thank you so much for the super chat, $4.99, pushing Fran Brown agenda. I don't know if he means he's pushing the Fran Brown agenda or if
no,
we
he
are.
is. He's pushing it. Fran Brown to Ohio State.
I love
Fran
Brown.
If you look at a lot of the great coaches, they were DB guys, right? Nick Saban, DB guy. Kirby Smart played DB for the Colts. Pete Carroll, DB guy, right?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick cut his DB.
Absolutely. Yes, you're right. You're right. I'd be with it for sure. Blue Wolverine, good morning, buddy. Thank you so much for the super chat. Our buddy R. Heron says he lost 4 games in a row with a mediocre team, toppling our most talented roster to date. I've been a Day supporter through and through for years, but this seals the deal. He has to go. And this is kind of what I've seen ever since the game. Just people saying, even like the biggest sunshine pumpers I know on my show, I've gotten emails because I run my email on the bottom sometimes, and just like long, like I've supported this through this, through this, through this. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I've never seen it. It feels to me like he's totally lost the fan base. If you don't do something tremendous in this playoffs, none of them are coming back. This signing day is going to be the most it's just not going to feel like it usually does at all. There's nothing going to feel great about it. They're going to try their best to pump it up. I don't know, man. This feels so bad.
Ryan Day squeezes the orange with the peel on to get orange juice.
My man KD with the best analogies in the business.
He does, man. This Ohio State team, it's an orange. Ryan Day just trying to squeeze it with the peel on, man. You got to take the peel off, bud.
Get great players so they can waste talent and that's, Kevin Barr, he's out on Day as well. This is oh geez. We got our buddy in here, Michael. Michael's in here. If you lose 4 in a row to Michigan and you keep him, then the game is not the game. It's fraudulent.
Michael, you're a Cowboys and a Notre Dame fan, and your team has lost to us 1 billion times in a row, bro. Like, I get it, but if you want to be, a Notre Dame Wolverine, go be that. Change your name.
I think he makes a good point, actually.
No, he does. I just don't like it, Juck. I'm upset.
Oh, they're having fun, man. They're having fun with this today, buddy.
Oh, dude.
Arkbuck says Fran Brown hype is only because Zach Smith likes him. Brother, look.
That is not true.
I love Fran Brown. I could tell you that straight up, and it's got nothing to do with Zach's opinion on him. I think Fran Brown's fantastic. If you've never listened to Fran Brown speak, go listen to him speak. And you want to talk about leadership, the type of guy that people follow, the type of guy that gets it. This dude's got it in spades.
Dude, Kyle McCord went from trying not to make mistakes to leading the nation in passing.
He's awesome.
I like Fran.
He really is awesome. So, all right, let's go over, KD, our new rankings as we have now, after all the losses. And again, everybody, we've now got the conference championship games are set. In the Big 12, you've got Arizona State and Iowa State. They both won, and they won. You know, they had to win to get in. They both did. Congrats to them. Arizona State, Iowa State. One's going to get in the playoff. Then you've got Texas, Georgia, Penn State, Oregon, Clemson, SMU. Clemson loses to South Carolina, weasels their way in, and now all they got to do is beat SMU, and they're in the playoff, which is amazing. And then you got Boise, UNLV in the Mountain West. And Penn State, Oregon hurts, man. Me and KD, guys, we were getting credentialed to the Big Ten championship. Would have been our first time. I'd have been able to go harass the Oregon press conference. That would have been awesome. Ask Dan Lanning a question afterwards. Not going to happen now. RD ruined it for us, buddy.
Actually, let me check my email and see if I have good news for you, Juck.
Here is, get this damn thing off the screen. The comment section is going wild today.
Pat, can you hide that comment for me? Just click the hide current comment. Yeah.
There we go. All right. KD's top 12. KD, you got Oregon, Penn State ahead of Texas. You're done with the Texas love. Notre Dame at number 4. Georgia at number 5. Indiana at number 6, right ahead of Ohio State. Ohio State ahead of Tennessee. SMU 9, Boise State 10, Arizona 11, Alabama 12. Penn State ahead of Texas is probably what most people would say. Okay, that one maybe is not what everybody else has. What's your take on that one between those two?
I had them up there because I had them ahead of them last week too, and like Penn State they looked really good, and we're not really going to get the James Franklin game, and they looked explosive on offense again. I think I trust them a little bit more than Texas right now, and obviously, like I haven't seen them get embarrassed this year, right? Like, I haven't seen them look lost or on the sideline and get absolutely embarrassed. So I feel pretty good with Penn State number 2, Texas number 3. It's close. It's you can flip flop them if you want, and really, like as long as Texas goes in and wins the SEC championship game, I'd be willing to flop those two, unless Penn State wins the Big Ten championship. And I think the Big Ten is better than the SEC right now. So that's my general thought. Notre Dame at 4 was tricky because I think Georgia likely beats them, but I believe you have to punish teams for the games they lose. And for that reason, I had Notre Dame at 4. I know they had the bad loss, but it was early in the year. And since then, they've been really putting the beats on teams. And I had them on upset alert this week. So obviously, they got it done. Georgia, maybe most boom or bust. I have a tough time putting them in the top 4 because I don't know who Carson Beck is. I mean, sometimes he looks like NFL Nathan Peterman. Other times he looks like the chosen one, looks like Trevor Lawrence. So I don't know. Indiana at 6. And I know people are going to take issue with this because Ohio State's at 7. But this late in the year, I'm going on Ohio State has 2 losses. I know that they played Oregon, and that's supposed to be an impressive loss, but losing to Michigan and the way they did, to me, is something that you have to be punished for. And I wanted to move them down more, but I just think that they've earned the right to be the second highest ranked 2-loss team, I guess. So that's where I was at with that grouping. The next 3, Tennessee, SMU, Boise State, I wouldn't be mad at any order. I'm glad that SMU controls their own destiny. And then Arizona State at 11, I felt good about. And then the worst or the best 3-loss team, I think, is Alabama. So I'm okay with them being at 12 ahead of South Carolina. That's my thoughts. I sat down with it for a long time, tried to work through it, and it was really painful to do, but this is the best I've got.
It was painful for me to do too, mostly because I'm just so disgusted by the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
I'm with you though. I do have them ahead of Indiana.
1 sec. WTF? I see you saying that how's SMU at 9? They're undefeated. They're not undefeated. They do have a loss on the schedule.
Yeah, and I am the one thing I'm puzzled by is the love for Boise. I don't get it. I just we're talking about a team that's not beaten a single P4 team, and the last couple of games not been so hot.
Yeah.
Boise doesn't make it for me. Maybe I'm a P4 elitist. I don't know. You could potentially call me that, but I don't got them in there. And to be honest, I hate I can't wait till we go to the Big Two. I don't think that these, like the Arizona States of the world, are going to do so hot. I like the fact that we're putting them in now to give them their shot, so we can all see that it's just not going to work out so well for those Big 12 teams. Is that wrong of me, bro?
I mean, a little bit, but you're a purist, so I get it, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I think I would agree with you, but like, I think because a couple years ago we saw TCU beat Michigan, and like this year, even like Boise State being like honestly outplaying Oregon and I think scoring more points than Oregon on offense. I don't know.
Do I make too many excuses for that game by saying that Oregon struggled with Idaho and they just weren't the team they are now back then?
No, I mean they're valid. I think we just weight them differently.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Shadyville, thank you for the super chat. Ryan Day deserves an extension ASAP. And our buddy Coach Zach, USMC vet, thank you for your service. Thank you for your super chat. With 19 starters out after this playoff run, why not make the change now? Already starting over, just do it from scratch. So over this country club mindset. Chris still crashing out. He just like us.
I think I've been pretty calm this morning.
You have been for sure. And we got a from Vince. Thank you so much, Vince, for the super chat. Chris, love the energy Saturday.
Man, I didn't.
Oh, Coach Zach, USMC vet says Zahir Mathis not signing Wednesday. Is that a hunch, or did some information come through that I've not seen yet? Did you see that, KD?
I had not seen that. I talked to 3 people from Michigan though, and they said they're about to have at least like between 10 and 17 million for the portal. So they think they're going to be able to patch these holes up pretty nicely in there. And Bryce Underwood's going to be a dude too on the trail. So
yeah. Sawyer McFadden says bring back Tressel. I don't know if Ellen would appreciate that. He's a little old at this point. They're just kind of enjoying the twilight years. But I do like and did like the fact that Ryan Day had Tressel in and was like listening to him and taking his advice. Like that was something that I thought, all right, man, there's just no way we're going to lose this game at this point with that happening. Nickma71, thank you so much, buddy. Biff called Marty chicken and he could not let go. So does Ryan Day in saying his team is soft. Wow. He cannot stay. He will never win this game again. That is an excellent analogy. Do you remember that?
I know exactly what that is, actually. I know what that is.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. That is excellent, buddy. That I don't know if you heard that or came up with that, but that is perfect. Really, really good stuff. Oh no. Coach Zach USMC says it's on his X. I've got to see this, buddy. So Zahir Mathis, the only defensive end you had left in this class. I'm sorry. What am I thinking?
No, dude, look.
No, I'm thinking Ziggy Grady. Never mind. Yeah, Zahir Mathis has been out on this class for a while. Yeah, he's out.
Yeah,
he's definitely out.
I'm running on.
Sorry, guys, too early for me. Ben Vargo says, is Ryan Day that insecure that he's still worried about the soft narrative still? I mean, it's certainly what he's getting accused of. It's what everybody's saying. You got even the national folks saying it. KD, I knew that this was so different when you saw several members of the beat talking about Ryan Day's job after this game, and maybe it should be a mutual parting of ways, or maybe he just goes ahead and walks off on his own. Like, when I started hearing that, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, these dudes go look at him in the face every week and toe the line. Like, if they're saying that, wow, things are very, very different.
Can't believe it, dude.
Lisa Sims. I feel the same way, Mika. Just upset, disappointed, and really ticked off right now.
I just can't believe that offensive game plan.
Female Johnson says the offensive line coach must go now.
I'm not even there on my. I'm still stuck at Ryan and Chip. I think if we keep firing people underneath of Ryan, we'll lose sight. He's the common denominator.
That's the thing, bro. That's what they want. They want this directed at a couple of position coaches.
Yeah.
And that's just not cutting it for me this time around.
No, it's not.
It's not cutting it.
I can't do it. I can't.
You already hit the reset button, right? Like, you've already hit the reset button on defensive coordinator. Like, you've already done this. You only get that one time unless you've been around for you. Bro, this is his 6th year. Urban Meyer was here 7 years. Like, this is not some new head coach.
That's disgusting to think about.
Yeah, next year matches Urban Meyer's tenure.
I can't do it, Juck. I can't do it.
John Diadamo says, Urban Meyers used to say, you never lose to these assholes, never. And now it's, we don't need to prep. We'll just run the ball on to Oregon in the playoff. And that's exactly how it felt. We're just going to run it down their throats. No prep, no nothing, no backup plan. Will Howard played bad.
What happened to the pop pass?
I don't know. What's this, Chris? I'm bored, says Juck. Ask Chris about Kyle.
Kyle got asked about the Ohio State Michigan game, and he basically said everything comes full circle.
Did he really?
At the presser after they beat Indy at Miami. Yep.
Ouch.
He looked and smiled and said everything comes full circle. That was it.
Oh my God, does that hurt, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got punked by that dude, RD.
Yeah, dude. He was up there sitting next to Fran Brown. Everything comes full circle.
Wow. Buckeye Nation 16. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate you. Therese Armistead says, fire Ryan Day, please. I bet Coach Holtz was doing a Ric Flair strut on Saturday.
Yeah.
So Sue says, what is the rumor that our guys were fighting in the locker room? What's that about? Former Ohio State beat writer Mike Waxman, who runs a Twitter account, said that sources of his said that there were fights in the Woody, in the parking lot after the game. I've also heard from a source that I have that that's not true. KD, did you hear anything about it?
I heard there was maybe a fight was the wrong word, but definitely animated frustration, which I think absolutely should be a surprise to nobody, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
if there wasn't that'd be a major red flag.
Seriously, that would be like unbelievable if there was not yelling and cussing and people very, very upset. Rob Lambert says, no way Day walks with that buyout.
I mean, you're right. 37.5 is big, and then you're going to need an extra about 20 for the whole staff too.
Didn't you say that when we were talking about Billy Napier's buyout, what was the record besides Jimbo's buyout? The next biggest one.
Oh, so that would have been the second highest. It was like 20.
So you're
like
talking
20 is like the second highest buyout that's paid.
So this would be the second highest buyout in the history of college football. Both of them under Ross Bjork.
Correct. the Ross Bjork special.
Oh my gosh. Rob, thank you so much, buddy. Nick, thank you. A fellow inmate of the 11W jail said it this morning. I missed Oh, the Marty McFly. Okay, gotcha. The 11W jail, is that the 11 Warriors comment section? Buckeye Nation 16 says, if Day leaves mutually, give Freeman a bag. Bro, Freeman's got some serious apologizing to do before he gets a bag.
Yeah. He's got to make the
and
rounds and apologize and make right first.
You know, I think a lot of people have missed what Freeman has said. Freeman has some animosity towards Ohio State, and that's been very, very clear through what he said. He needs to keep our name out of his mouth, to be honest.
Yeah, facts. And like doing a lot of it unprovoked.
Totally. Honest question, John. John says third base will get another year unless one of the two better options says yes. When does third base die? Like, look, I used to go hard in the paint for Ryan Day, just because he was the Ohio State head coach, while fully knowing the guy never did deserve to be hired for the job. That was fraudulent on my part, but that's how we are as sports fans. However, once Sharon Moore gets the job, like, doesn't third base die? Like, don't you feel fraudulent calling him third base?
Yeah, we're all on third.
Nothing wrong with the defense at all. The defense was tremendous. KD, you got to roll, brother, as we're just kind of going through these things.
I'm zoned out, dude. I can't believe it still.
Yeah. All right, my guy. Thank you so much for joining me on a Monday. Yep. We'll talk soon, brother. Have a good one.
Yep.
My man KD from Menace to Sports, one of the very, very best, and always appreciate him joining us on a Monday. Here we are, guys. Give me just a minute here to play today's sponsor. Hey, it's Juck, and MyBookie is back with another offer for the Juck on Bucks audience. Open up a new MyBookie account, and they're going to match whatever you put in 100%. Put in $100, they're going to make it 200. Put in 3, they're going to make it 6, all the way up to $1,000. If you're new to sports gambling, we do picks every Friday. We are +7 on the year for the Juck on Bucks official picks, and we're going to keep it on rolling. So sign up for MyBookie. They're going to match your deposit. Use the promo code Juck, and we're going to go through that every week, every Friday. Also, if you like online casinos, they're going to give you a $10 free chip for that as well. It's a great sports book. I've been using it for years. If you're new to gambling, I'm here every morning at 9:30. Put a question in the chat. I'll help you. I'm an experienced gambler, so to speak. The key is don't risk what you can't afford to lose, and you'll always have fun. Have some fun with me. Sign up, MyBookie, promo code Juck. Get your free money. Whoever put a Buckeye Bubba says Kirk Barton actually said on his show last night he was glad the Buckeyes are not going to Indy. What was the reasoning there? More rest? Like, if you are still on Sunday, which would have been his last show, the day after the game, like, if you're looking forward to the playoff on Sunday, the day after that crap, I don't know, man. We're on different planes. We're on different planes. That is getting over that fast. Buckeye Fan 05, thank you so much. They allowed Harbaugh to turn his biggest strength about being a finesse team into a negative, hence the toughness talk. Reminds me of political strategist Karl Rove making strength into a weakness. It was beautiful, right? Cursed designs with Ryan Day. We can't beat anyone. Former Michigan running back Chris Carter says, the sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar tomorrow there'll be sun. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate your concern for our well-being. Still with the Ohio. Doesn't that feel gross? Like, that's Brady Hoke's line. Like, how does something stick around from the Brady Hoke era? I would love to know. Johnny says, Day is an awful leader. Why didn't the university stand up for Urban Meyer like Scum did for Hairball? I think different things, right? There are certain issues that just make people really scared to go to bat for you about. You know what I mean? So, all right, my friends, we are at an hour. I appreciate you guys joining me so much. Got one more super chat here from RK. Thank you, buddy. It was so bad, it seems on purpose, like he wanted to be fired and take his $37 million. No other way to explain it. Highly doubt that, but it is tough to explain. Tough to explain for sure, buddy. So thank you so much, guys. I will be back tomorrow. We won't be live tomorrow. I am recording an episode with a guest who cannot be live with me tomorrow, but it will be on at the normal time tomorrow morning. So appreciate you all so much. Thank you. Have a great day. Juck N Bucks out.
Hey, it's Juck.
And I don't think he's going to throw the ball as much as he thinks he's going to throw the ball now that Chip Kelly's on board. And I'm happy about that. More quarterback. The truth is Ryan Day has made a change philosophically, but it's none of those. You all know who wins. LSU is the drunkest fan base in the country.
Start. I mean,